A reader lives 1,000 lives before he dies. What is up, champions? Welcome to another episode of Champion Reads, where we talk about best-selling books and their best principles to help you out with your best life. I am your co-host, Coach Willie Blake. I'm here with my other co-host, Mr. Ian Sturmer, and the founder of Champion Circle as our guest, Mr. John Kovacs Jr. Today is a wonderful one because we are doing another Rotten Tomatoes episode. And we are going back over not just two, not just three or four, but we're going over as many as we can in the time limit that we have allotted, as many of the books that we have previously not done yet, that we're going to get scores for. And I think we're going to put, once we get all these done, we're going to put them somewhere where people can see it. Just right, boom, straight up on the page. Maybe you'll go on our website. Who knows? We'll see. We'll find a place for it. But today, we're jumping into the books we haven't done and giving our Rotten Tomatoes average scores for them. So before we get into it, John, Ian, got anything to say?
I do. Of course I do. I love these episodes. And again, this has really transformed this, but I got to say, we've come a long way. I mean, you got to look back and think, wow, we've read a lot of books. You were naming some off before we jumped on here today, and I was like, I forgot about that book, and maybe that's an indicator of what the score is going to look like. But anyways, I love this process, and I love doing this with you guys. And I brought this up the other day. What do people care about our opinions about the scores? And I want to remind us before we dive into this, don't be afraid of the score. Don't apologize for the score. Give the score that you feel, because we're comparing apples to golden apples. These are the best-selling books, some of the best books out there. They taught us a lot. And just because it has a low score doesn't mean it's a bad book. It just means that it doesn't compare against the 10s, So, so just enjoy, sit back, and whatever we have to share today to our listeners, please. If it intrigues you, go grab a book. And just because a score is high or low does not mean you should buy that book. It means that you should learn as you need to align yourself with what you feel like you need to learn. So there you go. There's my opening comments.
Okay. I'm going to disagree with something there, John. Just because the score is low or high, they should still go buy the book.
You're right.
So, and yeah, a low score here is a 3 here is still a 10 out of all the books out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 here is still a 10 out of 100 for everywhere else, right?
Yeah. So the authors watching this, we do love your books. Don't be offended if it's lower here.
Yeah. All books are going to be given a 5-star review on Amazon, Google, Barnes & Noble, et cetera, et cetera. But to our liking, we're about to rip them apart.
Yeah, authors, we have standards that we have to live to here. So let's get this going. All right, let's jump right into it. Quick fire on all these books and points. I got my list right here, the books we haven't done. I have my random number generator, wonderfully provided by our sponsor Google, our not sponsor Google on this episode. So let's hit this wonderful button, generate. Boom, we're hitting number 6. Number 6 is The 4 Agreements by, I'm going to butcher it, Don Miguel Ruiz.
You got it.
All right, I got it. Cool. Why don't you start us off?
I'll start. Yeah, I'm just fired up today. One of my all-time favorite books. I'll be real brief here. The 4 Agreements, simple to the point, great examples, a little bit more on the woo-woo and spiritual side than the application entrepreneurial side, but it is a mindset book about your inner viewing of the world and acceptance of responsibility around you. I give this book a whopping 8.7. Yes, we're getting technical. A whopping 8.7. One of my all-time favorites. It's an annual read for sure. Bada bing, bada boom. Don, you nailed this one.
Okay. This was more of a woo-woo book, and I'm more of a practical application book. John and I occasionally argue about this point, and Willie's forced to listen to us. But I mean, it's a good book. I was able to take a lot of the principles, the examples. I appreciated how it taught me to kind of look at things from a different perspective. But again, it was a little bit less the practical side for me. So I'm going to give it a 6.83. Because we need decimal points.
I'll give it a 3.141592. No. For agreements. I did like it. I thought it was nice because it went over like be impeccable with your word, don't take things personally, don't make assumptions, always do your best. Like these are principles that you should be living by, because if you live by them, they're going to improve your life. And while I was reading the book, I thought, yeah, these are great things to live by. But it also didn't give too many examples. It was in the woo-woo realm of things. And so I'm giving it a 5.5.
Nice. Awesome. Which actually gives this book an average or a total of 21 points, 21.03, thanks to the 0.83.
Goodness.
Which makes it an average of 7 points per rating. And this brings our book up to the ranking of 8th place. Pretty awesome. I love it. Great feedback, guys.
Sweet. 8th place for that book. All right, jumping right back over here. We are hitting number 14, which is what we were just talking about in the green room beforehand. Strength Finder 2.0 by Tom Rath. Ian, I'm actually going to have you do this first. Okay, I'm joking. Yeah. So the score I'm going to give for this one. There you go. 3 books of Strength Finder. For the score I'm going to give, I don't like personality tests. I think that they're out there to put you in this like certain realm of which you can only be in this spot and you can't be in anything else. And I think people take it too far. Like it's great for like a little self-discovery, and to learn a little bit about yourself. But other than that, I don't see much of value in it. And so I'm actually going to put this at a 3, Strengths Finder. Don't let that impede either of your scores. But
that's great. Willie's lowest score given yet. That's pretty impressive. Ian, what do you think?
I shouldn't have listened to Willie first.
No, you say 10. I believe in you.
Yeah. There's something about that with these personality tests and that. And when I went through it, I found myself filling out the online thing and thinking, I want to be this kind of person. And so I put myself too far, and then I was like, I've got too many one. I need to go the other. And I don't know how accurate some of my things were. I think it was nice, the idea to say, what's your strength? How can this help you? I think the discussion we each had in the green room afterwards, talking about our strengths with each other, was really, really good. And the book inspired that, but the book itself, I don't think it's quite as low as Willie, but I might put it at about a 5, because it just, there's really good and there's not useful all mixed in there. So I've got to average it at 5.
I love it. Okay. I might shock you guys as well, but I love the Strength Finders. Gallup's Strength Finder quiz is awesome. I'm going to quote Nacho Libre and his little companion, and he says, "I believe in science," and I truly love the power of research and data. I think research and data and science help us get anecdotal evidence of not just averages, but things that are pretty accurate. And because of that, I've been inspired by this book, by this methodology to getting accurate results. And even in my I've taken the quiz 3 times. Anyways, we go into this in our episodes. So guys, go back to our channel, rewatch these episodes. The Strength Finder episodes are pretty empowering, but the book itself, I liked the accurate results rather than the book and its teachings. And I felt like it was a little too rudimentary, a little less specific and anecdotal, and more just, this is what it is. And I have conflict of people making unavoidable claims through research rather than throwing in the examples, which is why outliers and Malcolm Gladwell are at the top of my list with that. So that brings my score to a whopping 5.0. You guys thought I was going to go with something else. 5.0, which gives this book a total of 13 points and an average of 4.3. Probably one of the lowest on our list yet. But again, we want to remind everyone, these scores are reflections of this compared to the best of the best. And we're entrepreneurials, but this does not mean that this is a bad book. This is a 5-star results book. But I want to just throw that out there. Like, this is good stuff. But according to all the other amazing books we've read, this is opinionatedly a little low on our score charts.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. These books are all great. Like, we have chosen the book to do multiple episodes on. That should be a testament to we find this book interesting and want to talk about it. That should hands down be the first thing. Then when we give our Rotten Tomatoes, it's in comparison with all the other 20 or 30 books that we've done, right? And if you compare the top 20 or 30 people in the world and you're number 29, of course you might feel bad. But then if you compare the top 30 to the millions and billions of books that are out there, you're sitting pretty comfortable. So always that discretion there. Okay, let's jump into the next one. We're going to hit this awesome generate button, number 7 of Go Giver by Bob Berg. John, I'm actually going to throw this to you because I think you were the one that recommended this book.
Yeah, I've got a great story. And again, go check out the episode. You're going to hear me say that a dozen times today. Such a good episode. Great book. This one's one of my all-time favorite too. I highly, highly recommend the author, Bob Berg from The Go Giver. He's got a great outlook on series life. He's got anecdotal evidence. Not only does that, but he has fictional and non-fictional examples and ideas, which I love. Some of our all-time favorite books are story-based. So The Go Giver has that I guess that realm. I'm going to speed things up here for me and just say this book was an 8.8, solid 8.8, nothing lower, maybe even higher. I look for rooms of improvement on several clarifications, but Bob Berg nailed this, and it is clearly one of my all-time favorites.
Definitely. Oh, yeah, definitely a great one. And if people are watching this and have trouble reading some of these nonfiction books, this is definitely one of the first ones to pick up because it's an easy read. It's a fun read. It's a valuable read. I had to knock it down a couple of points because I like to think I'm a person with a lot of integrity in any case. So as I read this, it was like reaffirming my values and making me feel like, hey, I'm like this. And obviously I need to improve on things across the board. But I'm going to give it, I'm still kind of pushing. I'm going to give it an 8.5. Just because it's easy to read that and just go along with the flow and think it's okay. Or if you're not a person of integrity, you might feel offended and you should read it even more then. But I'm going to stick with that.
Awesome. Yeah, this book to me read just like Leadership and Self-Deception. It has that fantasy type storytelling mode, but then applies the principles in it. I love books just like that. So my score is 8.5.
Wow. Okay, great. which gives this book an average, a total of 25.8 points, an average of 8.6. That brings Bob Berg's The Go-Giver up to our second most loved book. Woo! We could have like confetti and everything. Yeah.
I don't know how to do confetti on here, but that's all right. John has it for us because he has a product of a fruit.
Yeah.
All right. So for this next book that we're going into, jumping into number 8, 10x is easier than 2x by Dan Sullivan. I'm going to start this one off because I recommended this book. This is a book that when it came out a couple years ago, and it was like right when it came out, I suggested this because it changed the freaking mindset I had of taking all your options. There are so many paths and choices if you're, let's say, going for 100K. But then if you up it to 1 million or even making 10 million, it narrows down those options to just a few. And so the principle of the bigger that you think, the less options that you have makes it easier to then make decisions and go forward was just groundbreaking at the time for me and helped me out a lot. So me personally, this is one of my honest top 3 books of the time. So it's not Outwitting the Devil, but it's definitely a 9.5 for me.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. This you hit on a point I was going to say too. We read a lot of books. There's a lot of great principles. There's a lot of great, tweaking how we look at things. This was maybe the only book that was a shockingly different way of seeing things for me that I would never have come up on my own. And from that, one of the most valuable books I've read. So now I'm comparing it to The Go-Giver, and it's like, which one is better? And I don't want to go higher than The Go-Giver, but I can't go lower than that score. So I'm going to match it there with an 8 point. Actually, I'm going to give it an 8.7 because I think this was just a little bit more useful. Okay, this is an 8.8. A little more useful information to me and something that I look at in my planning that's made a big difference for me. So 8.8.
Wow. Okay, guys, this is interesting. So I love this. And
And John gives it a 3.
I can't let it get to the top. No, I'm going to do my best, to reset my feelings around books prior to. I'm just going to give them a solid rating. But again, one of the most applicable books yet. Mindset-wise, total game changer. Like this book really made me think, it's just another Grant Cardone book where we're going to talk about 10x is, huge. Like you got to think big and omnipresence and all that stuff. But no, this was definitely one of the more applicable books and a mindset shift. And I always loved Carol Dweck's mindset. So I couldn't, again, not comparing the two, but just going after it and saying, there was on the topic of mindset change, perspective, and application. I gave this book a solid 7.5, which might sound low compared to the two great scores it just received. But that in total, due to the 8.8 that Ian gave, ties this book for second place. This is up there with The Go-Giver. It is such a good book. It has so many great things. And wow, this is, I know I think we did 4 episodes on this book because we just couldn't get enough of how great it was. So fantastic stuff.
Sweet. Yes, great book. And always go check out the episodes on those books because you'll find out how great they actually are. All right, next book that we got, number 13. Funny enough, a Grant Cardone book, Be Obsessed or Be Average.
I'll start this one off then. I love Grant Cardone. If you want a fuel injection of powerful, enthusiastic, go-getter mentality energy, read a Grant Cardone book, the 10X Rule. But this one was interesting because I had read all of his other books on sales, but Be Obsessed or Be Average. Surprisingly enough, obsessed is one of my favorite words, especially as an entrepreneur. It's written on my walls in multiple locations. It's a really, really great book. Concept and words aside, I thought this book was full of information. You really struggle to retain everything that he gives. He is a walking dictionary of wealth and knowledge of sales and getting things done. And therefore, it's tough to retain everything. So a book of overloaded information and not enough examples can sometimes be tough to retain. So my good old score for Mr. Grant Cardone. And again, Grant, I love you. I'm giving your book a 5-star review. Of course, you're amazing, but it's a 5 for me.
All right.
Yeah. I'm probably just about the same there. And it's impossible to read these books without having, an author's style that we are attracted to or feel we can learn more from or just have an affinity for. And Grant Cardone is amazing knowledge, background, everything. He is just not my style. And nothing about the importance of what he says, but I don't gain much from him because I don't connect with what I'm reading there. So as a result, I was trying to remember what I could about this book, and I love the title. And other than that, I know it was a good book, but it just didn't stick with me for anything. So I'm going to go with a 4.
4 for Ian. Okay, for myself, this was actually one of the first books that I went through on Audible when I first got Audible. I was listening to it, and there's this dude straddling a jet plane. I'm like, what the heck is going on? And then I was watching Grant Cardone's videos, and then listening to this book, and then finally I saw the person on the jet, and I'm like, wait, is that? Looked at the author, Grant Cardone. I'm like, this is the exact same person I've been listening to. This book always gives me energy. Not too many. There's a few practical stuff in there, but yeah, every time I listen to it, just the first chapter 0, gives me freaking energy to just be obsessed with what I'm doing. So I'm giving this a 5.5 for my rating.
Awesome. That brings that book to a total of 14.5, an average of 4 points. And my spreadsheet's not giving me the total. I think it's because it's still in tied place for one of our books that's ranked in the teens. So it's up there. We love it. Awesome.
Sweet. Okay, let's keep moving along. Number 9, Atomic Habits by James Clear. For reasons, I'm not going to go first on this one. So Ian, why don't you start us off?
Yeah. Okay. This was another one that I love, that I went into this book with entirely the wrong idea what it was about, which was nice. So the title makes absolute sense once you read the book. And before that, to me, I was completely wrong. So maybe it's that bit of a shock as I started reading it and seeing the value in it, that I really liked this book. The idea that it's small habits, the little things are what makes a difference, not the huge changes. And I hate to sum up the whole book with that because there's great examples as he goes into it. And I remember reading it, how applicable those examples were. So I am going to go with a 7.8.
Great. I'll jump into Willie, and I love that. Very similar to you, Ian. Atomic Habits. Let me repeat myself and my favorite quote from Nacho Libre. I believe in science. And because of that, I'm grateful for the focus of this. This isn't just a book that says, hey, everything you know about developing a habit. And what do we all know from developing habits? It takes 21 days to develop a habit, right? He dispels that myth and actually teaches you that it can either be overnight due to mindset change and differences, and or it can take up to 45, even 50 days to establish something. But it is the little things that count. as we do the small things, we do the big things as well. And this was a really, really good game changer for a lot of books. And I put that up there at one of the top of my list. I put it up there as well. And if you go to any self-help app or any library where they're promoting books, this one's always on the shelf. It's always front row. It's always well marketed, and there's a reason for it. It's because it's effective. So I give this effective book a 7.5.
For me, James Clear is one of my favorite individuals. His email 321, I save those until I have time to read it because they're just so good. James Clear as a person is amazing. Atomic Habits is also good. And funny enough, it teaches the principles that I teach a lot of my clients that I have. However, I can't remember a lot of what's in there. Like, I know it's about the small stuff and breaking habits, but I can't remember much that's in there. So I think I'm personally going to go and reread this book again, because I think there's a lot of similarities in what I teach and that it can help me out. But at this moment, we're hitting 6.2 for Atomic Habits.
Love it. I love it. Which brings us to a total of 21 points, an average of 7.1, and brings it to the top 10. So great job.
Sweet. Great book. All right. Keep on going. 12. Ooh, The Alter Ego Effect by Todd Herman. Fantastic book. I'm going to start out with my biased opinion of this book is a solid 8.5. Love this book. I love the thought of, is Clint Clark is he Superman or
Clark
Superman? Clark Kent. Thank you. Is Clark Kent Superman or is Superman Clark Kent? Right? Which one's alter ego and which one's a super individual? And it was great because I also, as a speaker, jump into an alter ego whenever I speak. And it's just the whole premise of how to do that, what to do, how you got Beyonce and the Black Mamba and all the other ones. It's just great. So I think I said 8.5 for that one.
Yes.
8.5.
Okay. I was watching John to see who was going next. So love the idea of the alter ego, and I've kind of played around with that with some trainings I've done as well with, what if you were, instead of in whatever mode, if you were improv, if you were an actor pretending to be whatever your role is. Love the idea of it, but I had trouble honestly applying a whole alter ego thing to me. And I think this is one that for the right person, it is an incredible book. For other people, it's kind of good. So with that, I'm going to put it kind of how I felt, 7.
Awesome. I love this book too. And it reminded me of, and I was just looking for the name of it and I can't find it offhand. So I'll just skip forward because we don't have enough time to dwell on this, but it reminded me of another book that was written by the trainer of Kobe Bryant, his main physical trainer and mindset coach. And I liked that. I also struggled at the beginning to accept the concept and to get into it because is Clark Kent Superman or is Superman Clark Kent? Well, to quote a real superhero, my favorite line from Batman, when they ask him, and I think it's I forget which group he gets, not Avengers, the other group that he's a part of. They said, well, what's your superpower? And he says, oh, I'm rich. I love that. That's my favorite line in like all superhero movies. And because of that, it just kind of shows you like you can be whoever you want to be despite what powers you might have. And I love that because you become what you truly are. And that brings in Think and Grow Rich mentality. And that to me is like the alignment of all alignments. So I gave this book a solid 7.0. And Ian, remind me, you gave it a 7 as well, right?
I did, yes.
Okay, that gives it a total of 22.5 books, and it makes our top 10 list as well.
Awesome. Great book. All right. Hitting this button a few times because we did multiple. All right. $100 Million Offers by Alex Hormozy. I'm not going to go first on this one.
I'll go first.
I am biased.
I have a copy right here. I was just going through my books here. I grabbed it. This book, awesome. And actually, I'm looking at the score I gave it. I'm going to change that score slightly. And here's the reason why. This is a great book. You need a startup handbook to getting things going the right way when it comes to building your business. Entrepreneurs, these are great books to turn to. Alex Hormozy is on the rise. He just broke world records in selling books. And it's not just because of his marketing expose. Like, he is really, really good at what he does, and he helps a lot of people. And I have very, very little negative feedback that I've heard about Alex. So as an author, as a human, amazing person. His books, super, super simple. I've read them, and I mean, I could have written them the way he writes them. And that's not to put him down. It's just saying, like, I love how simple he makes things. And that is an art in and of itself. And with that too, it's also, you probably are looking for more complexity. Plus $100 million offers. That's a big number that a lot of people really just can't understand, fathom, or even bring into their mindset. Most people are looking for that first 100,000 or that $10,000 a month. And because of it, relatability is a little off the charts. When it comes to being in alignment with that. So I gave this awesome book a 6.5.
Cool.
Oh.
So for me, I love Alex Hormozy. You can see offers right there. You can also see leads, and then his new Moneymakers book. I love Alex as a person. Absolutely. He just makes things simple, says it how it is. And is a practical applicator. He does what he says and puts evidence behind it. The book, $100 Million Offers, is also that way. It is so simple, step by step, what you need to do. Of course, the book isn't going to go into your exact niche, but that step-by-step process just makes it very easy to follow. So for myself, I'm popping it up at a solid 8.00.
Okay. Continuing a trend here. So I think this is one of the most practical, applicable books. If I'm talking to a new entrepreneur, this is probably the first book I would recommend as far as how to do their business, how to grow their business, how to run it, and those things. Love the book. Need to read some more of his stuff, and I probably should subscribe to his podcast because I'd learn some more there. But I think this is at the top of the list of ones I would recommend for the entrepreneur sphere. And as such, I am going to put it at an 8.7.
Wow, nice. That gives us a total of 23.2 points, an average of 7, and brings it up to one of our top 5 books, guys. That's amazing.
As it should be. All right, let's keep on
You're
going.
welcome, Alex. My higher score there.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah, you're welcome, Alex. Yeah. Goodness. All right, we got 6 books left. Richest Man in Babylon by Clayson.
Lord Jess
Richest
Clayson.
Man in Babylon. Ian, what's yours for this one?
Okay, I hate to go first on this one, but this is one of the earlier books I ever read in the personal development type sphere. And I have recommended this book probably more than any other book, with very, very few exceptions. This book is, if you are especially young, need to understand money in very simple terms, the concepts behind it, and eye-opening with that. This is just absolutely the best book I recommend to everyone. And as such, I was thinking about how my scores go. This is a 9.7 to me.
Wow. I love it.
Dang.
It's really hard to pass that 9. And I already picked which books are going to be there. And this is one of those that is nearly an absolute 10 for me of how valuable this book is.
Dang. So I know how I'm going to score and how probably John's going to score. So I'm going to be the sandwich in this part. So my thoughts on The Richest Man in Babylon. Great principles. If any financial beginner, Richest Man in Babylon is the book to start out with. I also just don't like it. I just never just the way it reads, the principles are in there. They're good and everything. I've just never ever gotten into it. I've read it multiple times, and each time I'm just like, good stuff, and leaves me kind of with a bitter taste in my mouth. So with that being said, I know, but love that we were able to go over it. But for myself, not to dash on Ian's, I'm putting it at a 4.
At a 4.
We may have to reevaluate who's on this podcast.
Yeah. The two hosts are
We'll
gonna.
see you on the next episode.
I'll share this. George S. Clayson, right? If you haven't read this book, this needs to be on your shelf. You need to read this book. Some of the best principles, and I've read a lot of books about numbers, finance, and obtaining wealth. This is a book of value. This is like the 4 agreements for the financial world. This is a must read. I've read a lot of books on finance, and this one takes the cake in classics. This is the Think and Grow Rich of financial books when it comes to talking about the numbers, understanding it. It is a must have. It's a must read. The stories are classic tales. Think about the prodigal son without it getting into biblical proportion. I know that Babylon can be considered a biblical conversation, but it's not always the case. And it's not a religious book either, although it does talk about values. And I give this book a solid 7.5, which brings it to a total of 21.2 and an average of 7. And it's pretty close to our top 10 books. So great job. This is a good book.
Yes, it is a good book. I want to say it is a good book.
They're all great.
They're all great. Okay, next one, as we are wrapping towards the close of all these, clicking it a couple times until it hits a number that we haven't done. There we go. Man, The One Thing by Gary Keller. I'll go first.
Okay.
Because I'm biased. Because this is in my top 3 books. I love The One Thing. The simplicity of it, the thought of if you focus on a single thing, or I guess the question is, what is one thing that if you did would eliminate or lessen the need for everything else? Just that question of focusing on one thing at a time, the thought of of focus time, how you can get things done if you just have it all in one session rather than focus, distraction, got to get back into the flow, focus, distraction, etc. So great book. Absolutely love it. I'm giving this a 9. 9.2. We'll be fancy. I haven't been giving the points like you guys have, so we'll do a 9.2.
That's how you feel. That's how you feel. I'll jump in there too. And I think this is important coming from me because I've been in the mastermind industry for almost 10 years now. I've put in almost my 10,000 hours. I think I'm somewhere sitting at like 8,500 hours of facilitation, participation, and running mastermind groups. Isn't that crazy, guys? And because of that, the one thing amongst all the books as resources shared in my masterminds, besides Think and Grow Rich, Atomic Habits, and a few others that I'll mention later, The One Thing is one of the most mentioned resources in my masterminds because of its applicableness, because it is memorable. It's really hard to forget one thing. And it's just a great principle of how to build. If you're familiar with the book Good to Great, I mean, this is a classic that totally helps you think about one thing. Now, there are evolutions to this concept. It's a good starting place for those who struggle, especially those with ADHD or those who just can't find the organization to start. This is the place to go. And this is just such a good book. So I give it a solid 7.0.
Okay. Okay, Willie, not to get revenge. No.
Like I said,
Yeah.
one of these times you're going to get revenge on me.
Right. No. No, this is better than that. So again, great book. But, as I read it, I just kind of felt, oh, here's another good way to look at things. Here's another method to do it. And it didn't stand out as a new idea or such a strong one that I said, I need to implement this, or this is something I need to work on. Now I do need to work on it, but as I read it, it didn't stick out from the book. Is that? So I think, it's definitely a classic. It's one of those that, again, the right person is really going to benefit from it. I did benefit some from it, but it didn't really stick out and wasn't as memorable to me. So I'm going to go with a 7.
Awesome. Which gives us a total of 23 points, an average of 7. There's a cat in my front yard. I just saw it come up on my window, and this brings it to one of our top 5 books. Woo!
Woo! Great book. All right, next book that we got going on is, I don't know the author, so John, you have to help me, but The Magic of Thinking Big.
Yes. And while I think of that author's name, I'll lead us off. This is just, again, another classic. If you're in entrepreneurship or if you're beginning your sales journey, you need a book that'll inspire you to think differently, because if you think in your feelings, sales is going to break you. But if you think in your abilities, your strengths, and your talents, your God-given assets, this book is going to help you maximize that. It's an absolute classic in the world of self-development. I give this book a solid 6.9.
Okay. I think this is one of the books that could affect my life a lot. And I see one of my weaknesses is not thinking big enough. However, this is a challenging one to review because when we did this book, I was busy with a couple other projects and I was not on the podcast. And as a result, I didn't read this book. So I don't know how that's going to affect our scoring system because I don't have a score for this one. So I think I'm going to have to take the average of your 2 scores as my score, because if I can become the average of you 2, I will be incredible in my life.
And Ian, if you want to as well, I mean, even if we can't remember the book, think about the name and take a moment to give it a rating based off of the title, because we have given scores based off titles, meanings, and observances. So we'll go to Willie for a second.
Yeah, if you think about it, literally any book that we choose to do for all the episodes, we're just going off the title and the thing. So for myself, it goes along with that concept in 10x is easier than 2x. It's thinking big. When you think bigger, things just become easier. Man, I'm going to put that tagline somewhere, because it is so good to think bigger. When you think bigger, you get so much more exciting. And I'm not going to go into examples because you can go watch the episodes. But when you set a goal that just seems impossible, but it's still possible, there's this fire, a spark within you that just pushes you to new heights. And it's just such a great thing. And this book covers it. It's still a high school. Apparently that this is a high score for me, but 6.5 is where I'm sitting at with the book. Awesome book.
And what does that do to your score, Mr. Ian?
So if I jump back to the title of this book, to me is almost shouting at me, you need to read this, because again, if I look at my weakest link, thinking big is one of my weaker links. I tend to think overly small, and I don't have as much confidence in the big one. So I do need to read this. So I'm going to put it at a 6.5 because I need to read it, but I didn't yet. So there's something that's held me back.
Its title gives it so much emphasis to invite you to read it. I love it. Total of 19.9, average of 6.6, top 20 book for sure. All right, let's do the next one.
Awesome. The next one that we got going, we got 3 books left. We are flying through these, and we're getting all the scores for all the books that we've done. What a great episode today that we got going on. The third to last one is The Speed of Trust by Stephen R. Covey. This is a good one. I'll start my ranking. So this is a book this was actually one of the first books when, just like Be Obsessed or Be Average, that I listened to the first time I got Audible. The Power of Habit was the third one out of those 3 books. And I kept listening over and over to this book. And it was so intriguing of how trust actually works. And not just like in our lives with trusting in, let's say, partnerships and relationships, but in business, in the financial world, and literally anything that you do, that when there is trust, things go so much faster. The ability to get things done is incredible. And on the flip side, if you don't have trust, how slow progress is. So with a speed of trust, I'm hitting this one at a good, we'll do a good 7.0. Getting my points in there, even though it's zeros.
Okay. This was another one of my top books. Loved reading it, loved the examples, loved how it opened up something which in the back of my mind just made perfect sense, but it brought it to the front of my mind. I think in my sales career, I probably apply principles of this book more than any other book as far as the sales, with the possible exception of some Jeffrey Gitomer's that are just simply nuggets after nugget. But the idea of trust and recognizing that, as I train people, I say, it's about, sales is about relationships, and relationships are built on trust. So I'm going to say the practicality of this book, how much I enjoyed reading it, I am going to give it a 9.01.
Thanks, Ian.
Really technical here. And if you know, Ian has definitely tipped the pendulum on multiple occasions with his scores. I'll keep this brief. Love this book. The son of Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Stephen R. Covey blows you away with a speedy way to understand trust in the business world. And I highly recommend this book. I highly recommend all of these books, but this one for me was just so easy to understand. And sometimes you get these books that are, New York Times bestsellers, and the concepts can either be relatable or a little bit out of reach for the beginning entrepreneur. This one you can begin with at any stage of life, because it's not just for the customer or the end result, but it is also about your team, your internal work, and integrity, which is what I'm all about. So I give this book a solid 8.0, which gives this book a total of 24.01 and an average of 8.003, which brings us to one of our top 5 books. Period.
Boom. There we go. Top 5. Sweet. Okay, we got 2 books. The penultimate book of rating that we got going on is Launch by Jeff Walker. This is one of the more recent books that we've done. Launch by Jeff Walker. I know one of my mentors is obsessed with this book, and they are following it to the T, and they are doing great with everything that they have going on. I also love this book. It's step-by-step walkthrough of getting things done with the pre-launch to pre-launch to then launching your product or service, and then what you do after post-launch. That also being said, you have to this isn't a one and done book. You have to read it multiple times, because he puts different aspects of what you need to do in different chapters. And so as my smoke alarm goes off, oh my goodness, I'm going to turn it to you till it's off.
Oh, good. I'll take care of it. Love this. Okay, so this book is, I was just like the book Oversubscribed by Daniel Priestley. I was skeptical of this book. Another book about launching your business. But again, these are my favorite books to read. These are like the clickbaits of Barnes and Noble for me, because I just go into these types of books so quickly. These are the ones I buy off the shelves fast because they're simple. But Launch was interesting because when we were reading this, I remember thinking, wow, like very few books actually go step by step in the launch sequence. They go through how to develop step by step your list of emails. This quickly became one of my favorite applicable books. And I personally ranked it higher than Alex Hormozy's book, but only because it made more sense to me with where I was as an entrepreneur. So my rating of Launch was a solid 8.0. I love this book. I think you should all take a look at it if you're just starting a business, and it's one of those that you probably want to dive into. And I've started recommending it, just like the one thing in my masterminds. I've started recommending the book Launch in almost every session with our masterminds due to its effectiveness and how relatable it is to the needs of a lot of our entrepreneurs and our clients.
Yeah. Now that the fire alarms are off, let me give my score. So yeah, again, great book. It's the things are apart, but when you actually get all the pieces and connect them together, fantastic. So I'm right up there with John. Mine is a 7.8.
Great.
Okay. This was a tough book for me to rank. If you're going to go through step by step and follow through it and hold the book in front of you next to your laptop as you're doing things, I think it's a great book. I felt there was a little bit of, you had to be at a certain level before you could do the launch. It wasn't like you graduate from high school, you have an idea for cookies and you're going to go out and do it. I feel like you have to have some resources in place before you can do it. And if you just enjoy reading a book that has some nice ideas and just kind of want to go with the flow, there's so many more books you should read instead. This book is only good if you're going to use it as a textbook to literally follow through step by step. Otherwise, I hate to say it's a waste of time because there's nice things in there and you'll pick up something here and there. But I think its true applicability is in a very narrow lane. So I am actually going with a 5.
Awesome, which gives us a total of 20.8 and an average of 6.9. And I don't have a total ranking just yet. Got to fix my spreadsheet here. But great score. And thanks for your opinions on this. I think we're down to one more book because I think we're saving the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People for the next 8 episodes because we're about to read that book. Am I correct in saying that, Willie?
Yep, you're correct. This is we got our final book, and before I say it, I want us to dictate the order in which we're going to present the book. Okay. So, ready? Rock, paper, scissors. Ready? Rock, paper, scissors, shoot. All right, John goes first.
Yeah.
We'll do John, Ian, and then myself for the scoring. So the book, the final book, which is a coincidence because literally this is the first book that we did in Champion Reads at the very beginning of all of it when we started to review books. This is by the Wow.
You got it. You got
it. Arbinger Academy, Leadership and Self-Deception.
All right. I definitely want to kick things off. When we first started this podcast, I think we built it with this book in mind. Like this book helped us conceptualize how we wanted to share information with the world. And it's because this book hits all of our favorites. I mean, it has practical application, examples, story in a fictional world based off of non-fictional real characters, and an example of application and business. It has everything from the go-giver's mentality to the teaching moments to the main character isn't a likable character, but yet the people around him make him likable because he goes through the ups and downs of life, relationships, belief, mindset in himself and in others. And also it eliminates the need to like judge others and to see and meet people with where they're at. Leadership and self-deception is all about looking inward and seeing the world from that perspective. literally one of my all-time favorite books. I just changed my score from what I had it down. I just love this book. And I think you ought to start here, especially if you don't really know or understand the self-help journey like we do from all the books that we read. This is a great initiation into that realm so that you don't have to feel like I have to balance nonfiction and fiction. Boom, there you go. A balance in this book. And the Arbinger Group is a great academy that unites that world in storytelling to help you conceptualize and understand things better. That is a great introduction for a well-known book, and I love this book. I'm giving it a solid 9.0.
Okay. This is also one of the top books I recommend to people. And as I read through it, maybe it's bad to say I kept thinking of people I should recommend it to as I read through it. Not saying that I wasn't somebody who needed to learn those things myself as well. But not a religious or spiritual book by any means, definitely a morality book to teach how we should live our lives and to step outside the box. Little pun there for those of you who read the book. So I'm actually going to match John with a 9.0.
And I love that, Ian, because those listening in, you heard Ian tiptoe around, which Ian doesn't do. Ian doesn't tiptoe around details, but without giving the book away, this is one of those books where the mere concept was, don't suggest this book to others because you think they need to learn something or grow something, but it is a book that we recommend because of the values you walk away with it. And it's that powerful. So I love how you did that. You did so very eloquently and with purpose. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
It's funny at the end of the book how he's just like, yeah, when you're recommending this to someone, don't say that they're being the jerk. Be like, hey, here's this book so that you know how to deal with me as a jerk. And then they're just like, oh yeah, of course I'm going to read it because I want to make sure I know how to deal with you. And then they read it and they're like, wow, maybe I'm the jerk. I love this book. It's right there with The Go-Giver. It gives the storytelling format and with the lessons applied to it. I recommend this book multiple times to people who are just like, if you have a self-help book that isn't like the normal ones, but actually like tell stories and whatnot, what would you choose? And I'm like, Leadership and Self-Deception. That's one you need to go to. So for me, this is a solid 8.8.
8.8. All right, let me go find my notes here. I'm going to create some anticipation. Oh my goodness. All right, that brings this book to a total of 26.8, an average of 8.9 rating. That easily puts Leadership into Self-Deception in our top 5. It is currently ranked tied for second place as one of our favorite books. Wow. And it means so much to see it there because it isn't just hype. It isn't just anticipation. It is a really, really good book, as are all of these.
Absolutely. Okay, as we wrap up this awesome episode, I want us to, we've rated all the books we've gone through. All the books from the Leadership and Self-Deception to our last one that is latest, which is the Lean Startup. We've gone through all of them. We've given you our opinions and our ratings. And hey, maybe in the future they change. But give your own Rotten Tomatoes ratings. Go, as you read them, share with us in the comments. Share with us what your Rotten Tomatoes rating is. Is it right with us? Is it right with one of us and you disagree with the other two? Ain't nobody being Simon Cowell here except this guy, apparently. What's your Rotten Tomatoes ranking? We want to hear from you. So in the comments, if you're watching the video, let us know. Or you can go to mychampionscircle.com. You can find our email. Send it to us. We want to know what it is. But as we wrap this episode up, John, I'm going to throw it to you because I want you to tell us what out of all of them, our top 3 rankings are. And just looking at the sheet right here, it looks like there's actually a tie for third. So you're going to hear 4 books that are at the top.
Yeah, the scores get really close, which is why we put in the 0.01s and 3s and so forth. But they all rank really, really well. Our number 1 book, I'm just going to go out with it. It's still Outwitting the Devil, and that just ranked highest. It was interesting. It was out of left field, but just a fantastic book. Ranked in number 2, we have a 2-way tie, Leadership and Self-Deception, which just climbed the charts. And then I'm looking for the other one, but just to speed things up, I'll skip that because I think we covered it. And then there's actually a 2-way tie for 3rd place, and that is currently The Go-Giver. And today we added both The Go-Giver and 10X is Easier Than 2X. 4 great books. And just a shout out and reminder, go check out our episodes. We talk about these books, but this is not a book review podcast. This is a book where we take the concepts and we share our own personal opinions, stories, and examples of each one of these books. So you're going to be entertained. You're going to love the applications, and take it from people who are in business. Like, dive into these and take some of our examples. Guy Raz did a podcast called How I Built This, and we're literally living out that manuscript of how we built this using the principles we're reading from these books. So if that resonates with you, go and check out our podcast, listen to our episodes, and find a book that resonates with you, and listen to the episodes while you read these books, and I'll pass it along to my team.
Ian.
Yeah. That was well said. I have nothing more to add on to that one. That was good. These are all great books. And so much of it does come down to how it resonates individually with us, which may or may not reflect the true value of a book to another person. So keep those in mind. But if you are a longtime subscriber and listening, you realize that we have got a lot of similarities, but there's differences in how each of us look at these books, and that may affect how you see the ratings of these books as well, and which might be more valuable to you. So read the ones that I rank highest first.
And read the ones I rank highest last. No, all these are fantastic books. We love to be able to go through these. And just like John said, we don't give these aren't just reviews for books, because you can do that in one episode. You can do that. You can do several books in just one episode. But we go into the principles. We go into the actual applicable things. We go into our beliefs, our stories, the experiences that we share, because we know as entrepreneurs and individuals that when we go out into the real world, if you just recommend a book, it's just like, cool. And then it's sitting right there on your nightstand with all the rest of the books, or on your phone, downloaded, ready to listen to. And then it doesn't. And then you just don't take action. I've been there a lot. But we talk about the actual principles of what you can from today, as you're listening to it, able to apply to your life and move forward. That's why with these best-selling books, we take their best principles to help you with your best life. So with each of the episodes, go back as you've listened to us giving these Rotten Tomatoes. If you find a book interesting, find the episode in previous times, because we've done multiple on each of these books, and just be the champion in your life. And with that, wraps up this episode of Champion Reads. If you found inspiration in it, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast. You can find us on all the major podcasting platforms, as well as you can go to our website, mychampionscircle.com, where you'll be able to find the link to the podcast, link to our socials, and everything else going in the Champion Circle universe. Until next time, champions, continue to be the best version of yourself. Continue to move forward with action, and always remember that leaders are readers. So crack open a book before Netflix cracks open on you. We'll see you on the next episode of Champion Reads.